Priggya,
Hi.
Arora, and welcome to the Innovators Corner. And I have Shalini Sitaraman with me. Hi, Shalini, how are you doing?
Hi, Priggya. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I had a great weekend. The place where I'm living, it monsoon just started, and the place is so beautiful. We are enjoying the weather and the wind and everything, and the rains.
So you're in the mountains, and I'm.
So we lost Shalini. I hope she'll be back soon. Okay, so by the time Shalini joins, the topic for today's conversation is what can be patented. Hi Neeraj, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Okay. Perfect. So by the time Shalini joins, I will continue with the topic so that we do not go here and there. And I believe those who are here, especially Neeraj and Apoor, you both can side by side message me, and anyone else who is watching this live can message me for questions, and I'll be happy to take them. So, what can be patented? So, patent, according to patents or the patent law globally, there are certain aspects that we need to take care of before filing of the patent application so that we know that our product can be patented or not. And these four aspects are novelty, utility, non obviousness or inventive step, and subject matter eligibility. It's very simple, it's not too complicated, just the terminologies may sound a bit overwhelming sometimes. So let's start with them one by one. So, what is novelty? Novelty means something that is new, that has not been created anywhere in the world before you have done it. So, novelty seems difficult, that it is new and it has not been created anywhere in the world before. But it can be as small as uh, it can be a very minute difference which does not exist anywhere in the world. So Shalini is back with us.
I
Hi
am so
Shalini.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I got cut off.
Yeah. No
Rains bring with
problem.
it a different kind of issue.
Perfect. I'm glad you are back. So that it does not become a monotone. So I'll brief you what I did. I started with the topic what can be patented. I briefed about the four aspects and I thought of starting them one by one. So now you can tell us what is novelty.
Novelty is something that's brand new, something
Yeah.
that has to be new. So when I'm saying new, compared to what, I have to specify that new compared to what is already existing in that technological area.
Yeah.
And so it can be a small improvement, but it has to be a novel contribution, something that sets you apart from what is there in the prior art.
Correct. So Shalini, I was just giving them an example. Like that is my favorite example to tell what novelty is. So we have all pins to club papers together, and then we have safety pins, and we also have needles used for sewing needles. So if
Correct.
we see all pins and we see sewing needles, there is one minute difference, and that is the eye. So it's
Hmm.
not a difference which is too great, but it makes things differentiable in functioning. So I think if we have such a small difference which can make big changes, then it is novel.
Yes. And also, can you tell me where I can find novelty destroying prior art? Where can I find anything that will destroy my novelty?
Oh, it can be anywhere. It can be it can be in Google articles, it can be on google.com, it can be in patents, it can be in YouTube videos, it can be in products, it can be anywhere. So
My
any
favorite, my favorite is the Donald Duck comic one,
yeah,
and
it's good. I think we should explain that, and you can do it better because it's it's really interesting, the comic books.
yes. So I think the story is that there was a USPTO patent examiner who used to who had almost decided on granting a patent. It was relating to a method of anchoring something, and he had taken the documents home, and his child said, "Hey, this is from my comic book." So he said, "What comic book?" He had almost decided to grant the patent, and when he opened, his kid got that, Donald Duck's nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It was
Yeah.
from one of those comic books where he had uh, that similar anchoring mechanism. And so I think the patent was not granted because the novelty criteria was not satisfied.
Yeah, even I read this, and it just, it lights up something. The first time I found the similar feelings I had when the first time I found in the examination report a YouTube link was given, and it said that your novelty is destroyed here.
That's a really cool one. But I
Yeah.
think we have a question here from Dr. Thomas Murphy,
Yes.
who
Hi,
says,
Dr. Thomas.
"Hi." He says, "Hi, Priggya and Shalini. What are the current requirements to reduce to practice and I think I need my
Best.
glasses and best mode?" Priggya?
So yeah, let's start with this. So I think basically what we are speaking about is utility and, the best mode. So after novelty, the next thing was utility that we were about to discuss. So utility means something which is capable of being made or used in an industry. So Indian Patent Act, it specifically mentions that it is something which is capable of being made or used in an industry. So I think establishing utility is not very difficult. In patent applications, we do give examples, how our application or how the invention can be used. So that is one of the best thing to do in the application. And coming to best mode, so this is interesting. So whenever we have questions related to best mode, I always say that the best mode, according to laws as well, it is said best mode at the time of the invention, like at the time when invention was made. So maybe after filing, you can establish that that was not the best mode. Best mode is this, but during the time when that invention was developed, best mode known to that inventor needs to be disclosed in the patent application.
So
So I
I have
think,
a question for you.
yeah,
Uh, we are not required to have a working prototype at the
correct,
time of filing, correct?
correct.
So how would best mode feature in
See, that is
innovators
an
for the tax
interesting
2030?
question, and that this we used to dodge examiners and dodge the patent office as well. That's why there is a big smile on my face because our act and our act or our law in itself is not very strict related to best mode. It's like if you have disclosed certain mode or the best possible example or best possible working of your invention, you are good to go. You should not, in the patent application we cannot disclose our trade secrets, we cannot disclose all the know-how. If we do it, it's gonna hit us back. So sometimes we have to refrain from producing all the stuff in the patent application, because at the end of the day that will become a public document, and anyone can go and access and read it.
Plus, I think best mode is more applicable when we are talking of chemical or pharmaceutical related
Yeah,
patents, and not so much for, say, electrical engineering or
correct.
maybe even computer science. You would need a best. best mode.
Correct. But I
But
think pharma and like chemical domain is the main categories of where focus has to be given on the best mode.
right.
Specifically the ranges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But what do you do when an inventor comes to you? And actually, we have to be careful because Dr. Thomas Murphy is a chemical engineer. So we have to be tread very carefully around chemistry. But
Yeah.
I'm still going to take a gander here into that domain. And what do you do when an inventor comes to you and says, it is at this particular pH or this particular temperature, and I don't want to experiment with ranges? So,
Yeah.
how do you deal with that?
So Shalini, you are from this domain and I want you to answer this because I am from electrical domain, though I know the answer, but it's better you only answer this question.
So, you know, if I just give a single value, say for pH, right? Uh,
Yeah,
then I am doing a disservice to that patent application and to
correct.
that inventor because I am making it extremely, extremely narrow.
Yes.
So I always, to the point of annoying the inventor, I always push for a range.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely required. Otherwise, you going away from infringement is so easy. If you know 0.05, even some micrograms here and there, and your invention is gone. Anybody is free to operate. So it's always better to give ranges.
Exactly. So if it is acidic or basic, let's say we are talking still about pH, and if it is acidic or basic, then I claim that entire 1 to
Range.
7, 1 to 6.5, and 7.5 to 14. I
Wow.
don't give that up. I may narrow it a little bit to pacify the client because you know the ones who are steeped in chemistry, they get very offended if you claim that
Yes.
entire acidic range or entire basic range. So I'll narrow it down, but I will still try to stretch it as
Yeah.
much as I can. And
So
we
like
have Mitch Jackson
Mitch.
saying good morning from California. Good to see you both. Hi,
Hi,
Mitch.
Mitch. It's good to see Mitch every time, and
Mitch,
sometimes we'll call him as a speaker at
we
our
should,
LinkedIn
we
Live. We
should.
should.
So
He'll give us a new perspective of
I
metaverse, and
spent
we'll speak
I
about
spent 2 years
metaverse
in
and.
California. Mitch, I lived in Santa Barbara and Los Angeles and Lake Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe. So if you're from any of those parts or if you're around there, and San Francisco, not to forget San Francisco. So if you're there, please say hello to the cities for me.
So we should call Mitch sometime, and we'll speak about metaverse and patents.
I better get my Oculus first.
Yes. So, Shalini, next.
Next,
Obviousness and inventive step.
ooh, obviousness. That's always a tricky one, right? Obvious to whom?
Obvious to the person skilled in the art.
For Rita. So, at my law school send off, uh, I made a comment. I think I was the only nerd there who made this. Everyone was talking about the past and the future and life. And I was the only person who said, we came here as newbies in the field and we are all leaving as Fositas. And
Yeah.
and I got a laugh from people for that. But it's a person who's skilled in the relevant art. We always
Yes.
forget the word relevant.
And it's interesting because some of the patent acts they say person skilled, ordinary person skilled in the art, person skilled in the art, person skilled in the relevant art.
So, which is the right one according to you?
See, every act mentions things differently. So what I feel is, for example, it is ordinary I think US mentions ordinary person skilled in the art, and India mentions person skilled in the art. So I think difference lies in the magnitude, like how strict the patent office is going to be with the person skilled in the art, or how strict the patent office is going to be regarding the obviousness and inventive step, specifically for computer science and electronics and electrical
Oh, that's
domain.
always a landmine.
Because we have seen that, US patent office is a literal liberal in giving software patents than India. And yeah, so I think that kind of wording is used when we argue with the examiners.
Yes. So yeah, I'm always nervous when it's a software paper.
Yeah.
I have to tread very, very carefully. But tell me one thing, we can find novelty in a single document
Yes,
and anticipation or non-obviousness in multiple documents. Or do I have that
definitely.
backwards?
No, that is
Have it-
so. For first, let's take example of some single document only, and then we can see that how it comes up in one single document also.
Yes.
So when we analyze, for example, I need to analyze novelty of this pen. I will try to find one document which discloses similar pen, though this is not a pen, similar pen, so that I can equate the two. And if two pens are exactly similar with same components, then my novelty is destroyed. If I want to enter into non obviousness, I'll have to separate this pen into multiple
Yes.
components. For example, this body, this cap, and the nib. And then I'll say body I found in one, nib I found in the other, and cap I find in the third one. So clubbing these three elements together leads to this pen. That's why it is obvious to the
Okay.
person skilled in the art, and that's why I am not satisfying the obviousness criteria.
Yeah, I think you explained that very well.
But yeah,
Uh,
Shalini, there are certain instances. For example, examiner will give one art, and for one component, the examiner would say this is too general. Have you?
yeah,
So should that come under novelty or should that come under obviousness?
it should come under obviousness if it is
Yeah,
too general.
yeah.
But we have another question now from Dr. Murphy. How about the broad applications? I have seen where everything under the sun is where it can be used.
How about the broad? See, Uh, the question is not too clear, but I would start with US had this understanding. In initial case laws, they used to say everything under the sun is patentable, or
That comes from
everything,
the constitution, the
yeah.
fire or spirit of innovation.
Yeah, spirit of innovation. Everything under the sun is IP. Everything under the sun can be patentable. But then, slowly, the jurisprudence it got developed, and we reached to the criteria, the patentability criteria, and then multiple tests like KSR versus Teleflex and teaching suggestion
That
motivation.
is abandoned now. They no longer
Yeah.
rely on the teaching
Yes, yes.
suggestions.
Now they do. But that is how the jurisprudence developed.
Yes. So I think with this broad applications, India has in its section 3 a very, very strict stipulation saying that new use of a known substance cannot be
Correct.
patented. But I don't think the US has such a stipulation.
But in US, everything comes under the abstract idea. I think that is where they capture everything and they give examples like what can be considered and what cannot be considered.
Okay, so he's okay. So Dr. Murphy has clarified the question, saying like something can solve the CO2 problem and kill bacteria. But it will still have to be a single patent because you cannot file unless your process of how it solves the CO2 problem and kills the bacteria, then we can have two separate process
Correct.
patents. But otherwise, if it's two uses for the same technology, then I think it will have to be a single patent with depends, I think, what you're claiming for, but you cannot claim use of patents in India.
Correct.
Use of technology.
Yeah.
And
So
new use is not a separate patent.
correct, correct. So in our act in section 3, it is clarified that new use of a known substance cannot be patented. And then we always take this example, as paracetamol is used for curing fever, if it is also used for curing pain, we cannot get a patent on it. So
Right.
similarly, if we have certain composition for something and the same composition has a new use, it cannot be patented. And specifically, as you said, we do not have use claims, so we cannot draft use claims. The office is going to reject it. The components need to be claimed, and the components and the compositions need to be claimed.
And
So
how it actually, if you're claiming process, then how the
correct,
process actually works
correct,
rather than the
absolutely.
use. But I don't think the US has use claims either.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So I don't know if you're going to have time for entire section three.
No, we'll not discuss section 3, but we'll just give gist of the subject matter eligibility. So I told them when we started that there are four elements: novelty, inventive step, utility, and subject matter eligibility. Now that we have discussed rest of the three, we comes to subject matter eligibility, where we say there are certain elements or certain technology or certain inventions which might qualify for inventions but are still not patentable. And why? Because our patent acts strictly bar that area. For example, as we just mentioned, new use of a known substance. Then we have section 3K, which says computer program per se, business methods, method of
Historically,
playing games,
yes, the
mental
presentation of
acts,
information,
presentation of information. So I think,
topography of integrated circuits. So we
yeah,
have A through P, and you have to, after you establish your novelty, non-obviousness, and usefulness criteria, you also have to run through the gamut of section 3, A through P. And invariably, one of the um, requirements in, or one of the objections in the office action or examination report, as we call it here, is about uh, conflict with section 3.
yes. And Shalini, I feel that section 3 analysis should be done first than other things like novelty, inventive step, utility should be checked later on. First, section 3 evaluation should be done whether it is patentable, whether this technology in itself can be patented or not.
Absolutely, I wholly agree with that, because novelty non-obviousness is quite a Herculean search, whereas
Correct.
section 3 you can quickly run through it, ABC and so on, and you'll have a fair idea of whether the subject matter eligibility is satisfied or not. But then you can embark on a more detailed search with the novelty and non-obviousness and see what that throws up. But I agree with you.
So I would like to share an interesting case which once we handled and we got through. So there was a case, one of the elements of section 3, I think 3 says that method of agriculture and horticulture cannot be patented, right? So we had an invention. It came to us at the point of FER. So at the point of SPR, and the claim was a method claim. They also claimed a system, and but that was not enough. So in that case, I have seen only one patent application where I found this objection. There was a section 3H objection that this is a method of horticulture and it cannot be patented. So what we did is we amended the specification and the claims to the extent that it became a system method. The manner in which we claim glass house for planting. So we claimed how irrigation in that system is being done, and there is a kind of a glass house which has a special irrigation system which is causing the plants to grow. So we claimed it from the point of the system and we got
So
through.
an apparatus can be claimed. I think that is
Correct.
how you answer that.
Yeah,
And
so it's
now
like we
have
uh,
Dharmendra Narwar here saying, "Good evening, ma'am."
hi
Good evening,
Dharmender.
Dharmendra.
I was
It's a
just saying that
afternoon.
sometimes we can tweak around to find the right strategy.
Yes, absolutely. So method of this medical,
Yeah.
therapeutic, diagnostic, prophylactic. There you can tweak it.
Yeah.
and your method of agriculture and horticulture you can tweak.
We can tweak the computer programs also.
That's your domain.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Murphy.
Thank you. I'm so glad you could join us. So, Dr. Murphy is based in New York. And so we have one end to the other. We have Syracuse, New York, and we have California.
Wow.
We have Mitch from California. So we have both the coasts covered.
So yeah, so I think great conversation. Shalini, should we sum that up once
Yes,
quickly?
yes. So we have novelty. So novelty, non-obviousness, usefulness, and subject matter eligibility. But as we were discussing, first you do your subject matter eligibility. I think we will need a separate session on that. Do you want
Yes,
to
we will.
have a session on that to run people to the Indian Patents Act
Yeah,
and
we can do something on section 3 once so that we cover all the aspects.
can see how we don't allow more things, how we disallow more things than we allow.
Yep.
But do you think that impacts the quality of patents, like restricting it so much, as opposed to US has 101,
I
35 years
think
101. We allow anything and everything, whereas ours we have 15, uh, 15 roadblocks, I would call them, or 15 things that we don't allow. Do you think that affects the quality?
Shalini, I have a mixed opinion on this. Sometimes I think it's good because our act in itself has clarified certain things that which cannot be patented, as contrary to US 101, which does not say much, and there is a lot of guesswork involved. Then USPTO gives examples to clarify that guesswork. In our case, I think it's clarified in the act itself, so that's good. At least we know what can be done, what cannot be done. But then there are elements like computer program per se, which do not say computer programs are not patentable, but the
Per
computer
se,
program per
per
se are not
se. That
patentable.
per se is a whole session in itself where you're going to talk and I'm going to listen.
So I don't know if they have clarified so much everything in that detail, then why they have left that per se, because of which we get all the problem.
I think we'll have to get someone from the patent office sometime to talk about per se.
Yeah, we should.
Per se and 3D, I think those two we need an expert.
Yes, yes. We should definitely call someone who can basically to discuss the jurisprudence. That jurisprudence in itself is so interesting. One by one, year after year, we have something new to discuss in this
Yes,
domain.
yes. So we need someone who will discuss the Novartis case and Section 3D,
Yeah,
and then we need someone for the per se.
definitely. We should call the controller or ex controller from the patent office.
Yes, we should,
We'll
we
also
should.
get more clarity in how to
We'll like
find our
sitting
way.
there taking notes in the middle of the presentation.
Yes, definitely.
But yes, I think that was good. I think so. Did I sum that up uh,
Yes, I
accurately?
think perfectly. So, whenever someone has to remember what can be patented, the four things are the most important things. And to remember them easily, I use the term nuns, which says novelty, utility, non obviousness, and subject matter eligibility. So, the word nuns makes me remember it every
But we
time.
need to flip it over, right? Because we should start with subject matter.
Yeah, subject matter eligibility is the first thing, and that is the easiest thing to analyze. And then, and utility also is very simple to analyze whether your invention would be useful or not.
I
The
think most
problem
of the
lies with,
patents will pass the utility
yes,
bar. Did my
and
favorite example in that I must share is the burkini, which is a burqa which is a bikini made out of, or a burqa made out of swimsuit material, swimwear
wow,
material. Because at some point, I think burqas were banned on the beach in France, I think, and you had to wear mandatorily swimming wear. And what do you do culturally if you don't want to comply with that? So you could wear, someone has a patent for a burkini. And
Wow.
I think that is such an ingenious way of solving a problem. So even
Yeah,
though
that is
there is no
something.
novelty or inventive step, it still satisfies your utility criteria.
Wow. It's such an interesting story to listen to.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's all for today. It's half an hour and we'll meet you all next week. Thank you for joining. Shalini, take care of yourself. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Prigya. That was a great evening.